Okay, I want you to picture the absolute worst case scenario. You are at, what, 30,000 feet?
Right.
You are strapped into a metal tube, hurtling through the sky, and suddenly the plane just drops.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't mean a little bit of choppy air. I mean severe, you know, beverage spilling, life flashing before your eyes turbulence. You are convinced, absolutely convinced, this is it. This is the end.
It's that moment where the brain just shifts into pure survival mode. All those social filters we spend our entire lives carefully constructing,
Gone.
They just disintegrate.
Exactly. So panic sets in, and what do? You grab the hand of the handsome stranger sitting next to you in business class, and you just start talking. And I don't mean small talk about the in-flight meal. I mean a verbal avalanche. You confess every single secret you have ever kept. Your wobbly career ethics, your deep dissatisfaction with your boyfriend, your dental hygiene habits. Everything comes out.
I mean, it's a textbook psychological response. We often call this the stranger on a train phenomenon, but here it's like accelerated by the imminent fear of death.
Right.
There's a safety in anonymity. Your brain rationalizes, I'm going to die, or at the very least, I will never see this human being again. So there are no consequences.
It's the ultimate safe space. Except, imagine you survive. The plane lands. You walk away, humiliated but alive, thinking, okay, that chapter is closed. And then a few days later, you walk into your office and you realize that stranger from the plane, he is just a stranger. He is the reclusive billionaire CEO of your entire company.
And he knows everything, from your fake math grades to your opinions on office plants.
It is the ultimate nightmare fuel. But today, we're doing something a little different. We're diving deep into the chaotic, hilarious, and surprisingly profound case study of Emma Corrigan. We're unpacking the source material, Sophie Kinsella's Can You Keep a Secret? But we aren't just here to retell a funny story.
No, we're looking at this as a kind of masterclass in the intersection of personal vulnerability and corporate hierarchy. It's a fascinating look at what happens when radical accidental transparency just completely dismantles a carefully curated professional persona.
Right. We spend so much time faking it until we make it, especially in the corporate world. We have our LinkedIn selves and our real selves. But this source material asks a dangerous question. Is the fake version actually better?
Or is the messy, honest version the one that actually gets you ahead? That's the core tension here. It's impression management versus authenticity. So let's set the scene for our subject, Emma Corrigan.
Let's do it.
She's a junior marketing assistant at the Panther Corporation. And, well, looking at the notes on her week leading up to this flight, she's already in a spiral before she even gets on the plane.
Oh, she is having a terrible time. She's coming back from a business trip to Glasgow that was, by all accounts, a complete disaster.
A total disaster.
She was there to close a deal with the Glen Oil. And usually, you seal a deal with a handshake. Emma sealed it by physically spraying a can of Panther Prime, which is this cranberry sports drink her company makes, all over the client, Doug Hamilton.
Ruining his shirt and the deal in one go. So psychologically, her professional confidence is already at rock bottom. She feels like an imposter. She's terrified of flying, but she gets this, pity upgrade to business class because a flight attendant sees how distressed she is. She's sitting there, clutching her seat, feeling like a total fraud in her smart jigsaw suit, which she actually bought at a charity shop.
And that is when the turbulence hits.
Oh.
And this is where the data dump happens. Because Emma doesn't just say, I'm scared. She unloads a stream of consciousness that is honestly impressive in its specificity.
It really is.
I think we need to list some of these nuggets she dropped on this stranger just to understand the blast radius of the humiliation she faces later.
Oh, we have to. It's a laundry list of insecurities and corporate sins. On the professional side, she admits she has absolutely no idea what multi-logistical means, even though she uses the word constantly in meetings to sound smart.
Which, let's be honest, is a scathing indictment of corporate jargon. I think half the workforce is using words they don't understand just to fit in.
Yeah.
It's that fear of being exposed.
Completely. It's a defense mechanism. But she gets pettier. She confesses that she feeds her colleague Artemis's office plant orange juice every day because she hates her.
That is such a specific level of office warfare. It's passive-aggressive genius.
It is. And then the legal risks kick in. She admits she faked an A grade in math on her CV. She actually got a C.
Wow.
Now, in a strict corporate environment, that is technically fraud. That is a fireable offense. She is handing this stranger the ammunition to terminate her employment.
But she doesn't stop at work. She pivots to the personal. And this is where the stranger on a train effect really takes over. She tells this man she finds G-strings incredibly uncomfortable. She tells him she weighs 128 pounds, not the 118 she told her boyfriend Connor.
And speaking of the boyfriend Connor, she absolutely destroys him. She tells the stranger that Connor looks like a Ken doll. She says she hates his jazz music. And then, the most damaging admission of all, she admits she has never found her G-spot, and she admits to faking an orgasm with Connor.
The description she uses is seared in my brain. She describes the sensation of faking it as a begonia opening up.
A begonia. It's mortifying, but look at what is happening psychologically. She's shedding the weight of all these little lies she lives with. The lie that she's a competent professional. The lie that she loves jazz. The lie that she is sexually satisfied.
So she just dumps it all.
She dumps it all on the stranger because she thinks the plane is going down. It is a purge.
It's catharsis.
Yeah.
But the plane doesn't go down. It lands. She runs away, thinking she's escaped the embarrassment. Until the next morning, at the Panther Corporation. The office is in a frenzy because the legendary reclusive founder, Jack Harper, is visiting the UK branch.
And Jack Harper, of course, is the man from the plane.
Now stop me here, because the realization scene is just pure anxiety. Emma is standing there, probably hoping the floor will swallow her whole. But what's interesting is Jack's reaction.
Right.
He doesn't ignore her. He doesn't fire her immediately. He starts playing with her.
It's a power move, absolutely.
Yeah.
He walks around the office and he starts dropping these subtle little bombs in front of her colleagues. He asks her how the coffee is, specifically asking if it is tasty.
Because she told him the office coffee tastes like poison.
Exactly. He comments on Artemis's desk, knowing full well that Emma resents Artemis for stealing that desk. He is letting her know, I remember everything.
It's psychological warfare. But there's a curiosity there, too. He's fascinated by the contrast between the employee Emma, standing in front of him, who is nodding and smiling, and the real Emma he met at 30,000 feet.
It almost feels like he's testing the system. He knows everyone else is lying to him because he's the CEO.
Sure.
He knows Emma is lying to him now, but he knows the truth underneath.
That is the panopticon effect. She knows that he knows. And then he calls her into his office. And Emma is convinced this is it. She's getting fired. Specifically for the math grade on the CV.
And this meeting is pivotal. It shifts the dynamic from victim and witness to something more complex. Jack doesn't fire her. Instead, he reveals his own vulnerability. He admits he wasn't supposed to be in Scotland either. He asks her to keep his secret.
Mutually assured destruction. It levels the playing field, or at least brings them into a conspiracy together.
But he doesn't let her off the hook completely. He challenges her. He asks her on the spot, what are 8 9s?
A live test of the fake math grade. That is nightmare material.
It is, and she panics, works it out via 8 10s, and eventually shouts, 72. He lets her keep her job. But the deal is, they have to frame their private meeting as discussing logistics.
Which brings us back to multi-logistical, a word she still doesn't understand. But this sets up the core conflict of the sources we are looking at. It's not just a romance. It's a satire of the corporate theater versus reality.
Absolutely. Because the Panther Corporation is portrayed as this absurd theater of pretension.
It really is. Everyone is performing. When Jack visits, the colleagues aren't doing work. They are pretending to be the kind of people Jack Harper would hire.
You have colleagues pretending to read highbrow literature like Mao and Proust just to impress him.
While Emma lied on the plane about reading Great Expectations for her book club, she only read the back cover. She's just as guilty of the performance, but she's the only one who got caught.
Exactly. And then you have Artemis, the nemesis, using buzzwords she clearly doesn't understand, talking about strategic competencies and concept innovation. It's all smoke and mirrors.
And we have to talk about Connor here, the boyfriend, the Ken doll.
Oh, we do.
Because the sources paint him as the ultimate embodiment of this corporate emptiness. There's this excruciating scene where he's presenting market research data to Jack.
It is painful to read. He's presenting data on the Panther Bar, and he's talking about teenagers identifying as Jedi Knights in the demographic survey.
Right, and he presents this with total seriousness. We have a significant demographic of Jedi Knights. It shows he can collect data, but he has no insight. He can't distinguish between a prank and a trend.
Connor represents the perfect employee on paper-polished, data-driven, enthusiastic, but Jack Harper sees right through it.
There is that elevator scene that just perfectly encapsulates this triangle. Jack, Emma, and Connor are in the elevator, and Jack decides to poke the bear. He starts praising Connor and Emma's shared love of jazz and Woody Allen movies.
Which is just cruel because he knows Emma confessed on the plane that she hates jazz and finds Connor's Woody Allen obsession annoying.
Right.
Jack is forcing Emma to confront the difference between who she is and who she is pretending to be for her boyfriend. He's holding up a mirror and saying, look at this performance. Are you really going to keep this up?
But here's what's fascinating to me. Jack seems to actually prefer Emma's messiness to everyone else's polish. Why is that?
Well, it's the craving for authenticity. Jack's the CEO. Everyone kisses up to him. Everyone shows him the brochure version of themselves. Emma is the only one who accidentally showed him the raw data.
That's a good way to put it.
Even Jack admits to her that he wasn't always the perfect businessman. He tells her about the Leopold file.
Ah, yes, the Leopold file. This was his trick in his first job, right?
Yes. He and a friend would use a fake file, the Leopold file, as an excuse to leave their desks and play hooky. Oh, I have to go check the Leopold file.
It humanizes him. It puts him and Emma on the same wavelength. Two people who see the absurdity of the corporate game.
But Emma doesn't quite see it that way yet. She's still insecure. She remembers Jack's comments on the plane about her lack of passion with Connor, the whole begonia thing.
Right.
And she decides she needs to prove him wrong. She needs to prove she can be a femme fatale.
This leads to the failed seduction in the archive room. And I think this scene is so important because it shows what happens when we try to force a narrative that isn't true to our nature. Oh, it is a train wreck. She lures Connor down to the basement archive room. She's trying to be spontaneous and sexy. But Connor's just worried about getting caught. He's worried about work. He's checking his watch.
It is the collision of fantasy and reality. Emma wants movie star passion. Connor wants to get back to his desk to file reports.
And then this physical comedy kicks in. Connor's watch gets snagged on Emma's jumper.
And not just snagged, it's tangled in the pink wool. They're physically stuck together, but not in a romantic way, in a ruined knitwear way.
And who walks in?
Jack Harper, of course.
Jack walks in while they're entangled, looking guilty, with pink yarn connecting them. It just destroys the illusion Emma was trying to create.
She wanted to look passionate. She looks chaotic. But again, notice the contrast. Her relationship with Connor is practical, sterile, and easily disrupted by a snagged watch. Her dynamic with Jack, even in this humiliation, is charged with tension. He sees her. He sees the pink wool. He sees the absurdity.
He's the witness to her real life, while Connor is just participating in the performance. Connor's worried about the rules. Jack is looking at the people. But the moment where this truth versus nonsense theme really peaks, and where I think the real business lesson lies, is the meeting about the new logo, the ovaries meeting.
This is the climax of the corporate satire. Jack calls Emma up to his office. He's surrounded by his creative team and executives. They're debating a new abstract graphic for the brand.
And the marketing team is doing that classic thing, using 50 words when 5 would do. They're calling the logo Earth Mother and fertility and wisdom.
They're projecting meaning onto a squiggle to justify their fees. And Jack asks Emma simply, what do you think this is?
And Emma, being Emma, and maybe unable to stop being honest around Jack now, says it looked like 2 walnuts.
And the room goes silent because, of course, the designer admits it was supposed to be ovaries. But Jack starts laughing.
He just laughs.
He laughs because the Emperor has no clothes. He values Emma's walnut comment more than the entire team's pseudo-intellectual justification. She's the only one looking at it with a consumer's eye, not a corporate eye.
It validates her perspective. She's not just the screw-up assistant. She's the voice of reason in a room full of people high on their own supply. It suggests that maybe executive presence isn't about using big words like multi-logistical.
It's about seeing things clearly.
Exactly. Authenticity becomes her asset. And that leads to their final conversation before Jack leaves. They share a moment laughing about the ovaries. The barrier's down, Jack feels like a friend. But then he oversteps.
He brings up Connor again, and this time he isn't teasing.
No, he gets serious. He tells her she shouldn't move in with Connor. He says she needs someone who excites her. He tells her straight up, you won't be happy with a nice guy.
That is a bold move for a CEO talking to a junior assistant he met a week ago. Is he right? Probably. Is it his place to say it? That's debatable.
It triggers Emma's defenses. She doubles down. She claims she's going to marry Connor. She retreats back into the safe narrative because the truth Jack is offering is too scary.
It implies she has to blow up her life.
Jack apologizes. He admits he crossed a line. He says he feels like a friend because they survived the plane ride. And then he leaves. He goes back to the States.
And the source material leaves us in this really interesting unresolved place. Emma is moving in with Connor. She's unpacking boxes. She's doing exactly what she said she would do.
But she feels changed.
She's unpacking a glass teapot, but her head is somewhere else. She has been seen. That's the crux of it.
Yeah.
For a week, she was completely exposed to one person. And instead of being rejected for her secrets, her fake math grade, her hatred of jazz, her messy habits, she was validated. Jack liked the real Emma. Connor loves the curated Emma.
So what does this all mean for us? Because most of us aren't going to spill our secrets to a CEO on a plane. But we all do this curation, right?
We do. And the takeaway here is about the destabilizing but ultimately constructive power of truth. Emma spends so much energy trying to be the perfect marketing executive, the perfect girlfriend. But those efforts led to mediocrity. They led to being fine.
Right.
It was her accidental authenticity, her walnut comment, her admission about the coffee that actually garnered respect from the most powerful person in the room.
It suggests that faking it till you make it might be a trap.
It is a trap. It traps you in a persona that isn't sustainable. Jack Harper didn't want a drone who knew what multi-logistical meant. He wanted someone who could tell him the logo looked like nuts. Authenticity is a competitive advantage because it's so rare. In a world of Connors, be an Emma.
That is a powerful thought. We're so afraid that if people saw the real us, they'd run for the hills. But in this case, the real Emma was the one who got the guy's attention and his respect.
And it raises a question about connection. Can you really be loved if you are never really known? Connor loves the girl who gets 118 pounds on the scale and loves jazz. He doesn't know Emma. Jack knows Emma, and he's the one who challenged her to be better.
That's the tragedy and the hope of it. She's moving in with the wrong guy, but now she knows he's the wrong guy because she's tasted what it's like to be known.
Once the genie of truth is out of the bottle, you can't really put it back in. She can't unknow that she finds the relationship sterile. The turbulence on the plane created turbulence in her life, and that's actually a good thing. It woke her up.
So here is the final provocative thought for everyone listening. We all have our CV version of ourselves, the version that loves jazz and understands logistics and reads Proust.
And we have the version that hates G-strings and reads the back of the book.
Exactly. If the CEO of your life, or just a stranger on a plane saw who you really were beneath the polite dinner conversation, would they see a loser? Or would they see the only real person in the room? And more importantly, why are we so afraid to let that person out?
Maybe the secret is that we're all just faking the math grade, and we're all just waiting for someone to catch us and laugh about it.
Something to think about the next time you're on a flight and the seatbelt sign turns on. Thanks for diving deep with us.
See you next time.